Where'd we play?
Welcome to the Golf Loons podcast, one course at a time in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Where'd we play?
All right, welcome back, gang, to the latest installment of the Golf Loons podcast. I'm here with my friend Twig, fresh off another nice round at the Wilds Golf Course in Prior Lake, Minnesota. That's our course today. Great job today, Twig.
Thanks. Steamy. It was a steamy round. We took carts, and I was still drenched. I still needed to change clothes before I met my family for lunch, and I was still getting grief at the restaurant for how sweaty I was. Steamy, but really fun time with Max and with you.
Apologies to our followers on the gram. I was going to take a picture of your shorts front and back to show how wet they were, but you convinced me not to. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll also say you're welcome for being the cart guy because it would have been a little hot. But to show you that I think of you, I'm going to thank you for picking the 7:20 a.m. tee time. I know I give you a lot of crap for those early tee times, but we would not have wanted to play a minute later today in the heat of late July in Prior Lake.
It was probably a wash. I got my wish with the early morning tea time. You got your wish with the carts.
And I think it worked out well for both of us.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, good job. Before we go further, let's thank our friends at Yellowbird and today thank them for, you can't see this if you're listening on the pod, but if you're watching on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, Golf Loons MN. You can see these beautiful canisters. I don't know.
I think you have a tumbler.
Water bottle. I have a tumbler. You've got a water bottle.
Yep.
From Yellowbird.
I want to give a close up. Yeah.
I mean, as nice as it gets. Thank you to JP and thank you to Yellowbird.
Yeah, Yellowbird, thanks for your support. You know all about the two locations, Selby and Northeast, but thanks to JP. He actually goes up. Well, I need to get you guys some mugs or some props for the studio, and here we are. So beautiful.
Yep, we've got those. Next comes a backdrop with the Yellowbird logo, a step and repeat.
Yeah,
which you and I know a lot about. We've put a fair amount of those up in our days.
That's right.
So thank you to Yellowbird, and believe it or not, our fourth today was none other than JP from Yellowbird. He leads the league in non-guest appearances on the Golf Loons podcast.
Yeah, two things. We promised JP will be a guest.
Yep, he will
be. And he's kind of the Fred Ridley of our podcast. Fred Ridley, who's now the chairman of Augusta, is a good golfer. And years ago, before he was the chairman, if there was ever like an odd number of players that made the cut in the Masters, Fred Ridley would be the marker.
Okay.
So Fred Ridley would go out and play with the guys, the first guy off, so he wouldn't be alone. Yeah. And he would shoot his 72 and whatever and go home. So JP's kind of like our Fred Ridley. He's our marker.
He's the official marker of the Golf Loons podcast.
But I would also argue he's more fun to hang out with than Fred Ridley.
Probably.
I hope.
Yeah, I would think.
JP,
thanks again for coming, JP. But our special guest today was Max Smith of the InSports Foundation. You may have seen him in a golf magazine. He's a model for Unreal, him and his son. You can see them in ads. Best dressed golfer, best dressed dad golfer in Minnesota. I'm going to give him that title. So Max Smith will be our guest. He also has a podcast, the InSports podcast, where he interviews a lot of big name athletes. But he was our guest today, and we'll get into more about what he does later. So the Wilds of Prior Lake, we didn't really get out of our comfort zone, Twig. We were north for our last episode. We were southwest, but now we're back in the comfy confines of the Southwest Metro and Prior Lake. Sometimes we just need to stay close to home.
Yeah, I think we knew we wanted to play the Wilds at some point this year because we both feel like it's a great course and we both like playing it and it's close. But Max and his foundation, which we'll hear about more in Emergency 9, they've done their charity golf outing there the last 8 years. So it's kind of nice to do it at a place that he knows well, and he had a few fun stories during the round as well too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of nice to do it. So it was a little bit of a reason for us swinging back close to home. But yeah, the Wilds was a great spot today.
Yeah, we do always try to tie the guest to the golf course itself, and so there was a nice tie in there with the Wilds. So great course, the Wilds. I've made a point. I'm not going to let my play dictate how I feel about a course. That's my pledge. So if I were to say, based on my play, the Wilds golf course, I would say it sucked, but I can't do that. I sucked, but not because of the golf course. The Wilds is a phenomenal course. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have played it, but for those who haven't, let's give them some advice in the Twigs Gimmies segment.
Oh, it's too bad. Pick it up.
All right, there you have it, Twig. We are in the Twigs Gimmies segment. This is where you help golfers figure out how to play a course. And for the Wilds, start out on number 1. I'm just going to give my one gimme of the day. On your drive, aim for the water tower.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay,
Good.
Would you agree?
I would agree, and I like the look of it. It's a left to right hole. I'd say it's a medium handshake. I don't think it's a gentle handshake. Stay left off the fairway. There's water right, and the fairway kind of slopes right in the rough. So if you hit one in the right rough, oftentimes it will kick right into the water. So left is your kind of your friend, and even if you're in the left rough, you still have a clear shot to the green. I love how the green sits back, and there's a bunch of trees that sit behind it.
Yeah.
It's like in this little
Cool
pool.
backdrop.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the trees. It's like the same. It must be the same species or cut of pine from the 11th hole at Troy Burn, that par 3 that has those pine trees behind it. And the green's not super big, so I would say it's a fairly easy drive, but the approach, you have to be on your game to hit the green and to putt it. But it's definitely a hole that's I think it's a good opener.
Okay. Then we go to number 2, a dog leg left that can bite you if you hit your drive too far and too straight.
Yeah, it's one that the upper plateau of the fairway is a little bit turtleback. So if you hit it on the right side, you're going to kick right. If you hit it too far left, you're going to kick left as well. So a good line is, I think, the right edge of the bunker. There's a fairway bunker up at the left corner. If you want to cut it off of that, that's a good one. Something that's like a 230 to 240 yard shot is fine. It should be able to get you to the crest of the hill, and it'll kind of tumble down left, and the whole dog leg's left. If you do pound one straight, you might get through the fairway. You might be into heavy rough. You may even be OB. So it's a little bit of a tricky shot. You can't just hit it straight 300 on it. So if you hit your driver really, really far, you want to cut the corner or you want to have a draw on it.
Yep.
Then the second shot, you can see the green. So you can't see the green from the tee. And it's there's an opening on the left, so you can run something up on the left. Easier pins tend to be on the left through the middle of the green. The ones that are kind of back right can be a little trickier because you've got a bunker to navigate as well. But I think it's a fun par 5 from the standpoint of, if you hit a good tee ball, you're going to have a chance to get on the green or close to the green at 2. And it's a good sized green. There's some small greens at the Wilds, and there's some big greens. This is a decent sized green.
Yeah.
And then once you're on the green, there's definitely, depending on where the pin is, some harder pins based on the slopes. But
sure.
Yeah, get that tee ball into play. That's the main.
That is the main thing. Okay. Yeah. Then we go to a par 3 on number 3.
Yeah, another sneaky small green, and there's a bunker that's front right that when I play this hole, I just think middle of the green. I say it a lot. I think on par 3s, it's not a real big one. If you pull it left, there's a good chance you'll kick left into the crap. Over is okay. It's flat for a little bit, but the bunker can tend to be a hard up and down. So I just think middle of the green on that one's pretty good. If you're a touch deep, depending on the rough, it may not be that bad of an up and down the deep. When we played it today, I mean, it was. The rough was kind of thick in some spots. So
yeah, there was heavy rough today at the Wild.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, short par 4 uphill. And I just got to say, I'm glad I'm not playing from the ladies' tees on this course, because if you play from the ladies' tees on 4 or 16, the reeds in the swamp right in front of those tees are right there.
Yeah.
So, like, you got about 10 feet to get over a 20-foot reed in front of you. Like, it'd be a tough tough shot from the ladies' tees for sure.
Yeah. And from we played it. We didn't play the back tees. We played the golds, which are I think 6,400.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty common tee at the Wild. It's drivable. Tom Weiskopf designed the course, and one of his trademarks, and he kind of was known for this before it became in vogue, as having drivable par fours.
Yeah.
He has one on the front and one on the back. So there's a lot of ways you can play this. If you can carry that bunker that's on the left, I say take your driver out and go for it. JP drove the green, which was super cool. And
tap in birdie. Tap in yellow birdie.
Yellow bird. That's good. Yellow bird. And he hit. We thought he was going to make the eagle putt. He started backpedaling.
Yeah.
As it was about 5 feet from the hole, and it was going to be something special. But it was a great. He had about a 10-inch putt to tap in for birdie. But if you don't drive the green, you usually have a wedge to a slightly uphill green, and there's some fun pins. There's some different shelves and different nooks and crannies. So the pins that are kind of in the middle. Or the front aren't too bad, and then if it's on the far left or the far right, you've got a little more slope to navigate. But I think just as long as you can kind of avoid those bunkers, for sure the one on the left and the ones on the right, then you've got a pretty straightforward, easy wedge in the green.
Okay. So if 4 was a drivable par 4, 5 would be the opposite. Long par 4 here.
Long straight
one handicap.
Yeah, long straight par 4. One of the fairway's pretty generous, so you obviously just hit it as far as you can. There's it's kind of there's a small hill in front of the green that's sort of deceptive that kind of obscures your view of the green. So I always feel uncomfortable when I'm hitting my second shot. It's usually 200 yards or 180 or 190. It's a long shot. It's a hybrid, maybe a 3-wood. And I think it is for a lot of people. And you can't quite see all the flag depending where it is. And it looks like there's a bunker that's closer to the green than it really is. So you can carry it over that bunker and there's room to still bounce it on.
Yep.
And the green's bigger than it looks as well. So I think it's one, if you've played it a few times, you kind of know, okay, it's not as tough of a second shot as maybe you think.
Yep.
But it's one, again, just middle of the green, or a little bit short of the green and you're fine on this one. But yeah, T-ball in play. Left is OB, so anything in the fairway is good, and then you're going to have lumber or long iron in. Middle of the green or short's good.
Okay. Number 6, kind of split fairway par 4.
Yeah, there's and Max and I talked about this, and I think we all talked about it today in our round, is there's not really, I don't know that there's a huge incentive to go left. It's so typically we'll play out to the right, and I definitely always play out to the right. You just can kind of run out of room to the left split fairway, and it does kind of slope off left if you hit it a little too far. If you do make the left fairway, it is a slightly better view of the green, but I don't think it's horrible from the right either.
Right.
So, and if you hit the right fairway, you usually I usually take about 5 yards off my approach, 5 or 8 yards. It plays a little downhill, and there's kind of a kicker slope to the right. If you avoid the right bunker, that's kind of up by the green, there's a nice slope there that you can even play it even a little bit right of the green, and I'll kick it left onto the green, and the green it's just back to front slope, so it's kind of ideally you're below the hole, but just. If you can get that T-ball into play, as awkward as it feels, you're usually going to have a short iron into it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then we go to 7 par 3. Over some trouble.
Yeah, over some trouble. The par 3s at the Wilds are hard. I think the set of par 3s are really hard. This is I don't love uphill par 3s. To me are hard and difficult. So this one you're going to add probably about 5 to 10 yards, for sure 5, probably more like 10 yards on your T-ball. If you go a little deep. It looks like there's a backboard, but it doesn't necessarily play like that, but it's not the world's worst up and down. The bunker left is really hard up and down. It's a deep bunker, pretty well below the green. Again, I just middle of the green on the par 3s at the Wilds, and you're loving life. But it's a really difficult shot, and you're hitting it's all carry. You got to carry over all the reeds and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we go to a par 5, number 8.
Max's favorite hole. He declared that this is my favorite hole, and I think there's a good argument for it.
Don't spoil our the range,
Well, it's Max's. Max's favorite. Not necessarily mine.
Okay.
But it's if you can hit the green off the tee, you can spray it a touch to the right. There's a big slope to the right that can help kick you back onto the green, onto the fairway. Your second shot is blind. So you're hitting over. I just always aim over. There's a fairway bunker that's out maybe, well, it's like 330 from the tee. Usually you can't reach it on your tee ball, but I usually just try to hit it right over the middle of that. Yep. And even a little touch to the right side of that. And the fairway jogs to the right around that. And then you have a really beautiful, I think it's one of the most beautiful approaches in the metro, but for sure on the course. And the green is kind of sitting down there nice. And there's a lake behind it, and there's trees, and it's really well framed. And there's kind of an amazing, it's like a Frank Lloyd Wright house that's up on the hill, up to the right. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're stealing my material for the range.
Oh.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But so if you on the second shot, if you can, I would say aim middle of that bunker, on your second shot, and then you're going to be rewarded with like a wedge or a short iron.
Yeah. Okay. Finishing up the front, we go to number 9.
Number 9, uphill. If you can, the name of the game I think is get your drive up as far as you can. So the farther up you are, it's a little bit easier to see the green. It's a really hard approach, just because it's uphill and you can maybe see half of the flag stick, and it's a longer flag stick too. And then pay attention to where the green is, or excuse me, where the pin is, as opposed to where it is on the green. So if the pin is in the back or in the front, and kind of judge your yardage accordingly. But yeah, it's depending on where you are on the fairway. If you're way back, it might be 2 clubs uphill. If you're up towards the top of the crest, it might just only be a half a club or a club. So the farther up you can get it. And it's a sneaky small green as far as the width of it. So if you can hit the green, I just usually kind of aim, if you're aiming at the pin, chances are you're gonna hit the green. So you can't go too far to one side or the other.
Right. All right. Hit the turn. Make the long trek over to 10. You kind of, if you're walking, you got a long walk ahead of you. Again, you're welcome for the carts that got us to 10 quickly. Number 10, par 4.
This is a terrific hole. It's a fairly generous landing area for the tee ball, but you're usually going to have a mid to long iron into the green. It's a small entrance, and the green slopes off on the right side. It's not a very big green. If you go left, you're in bunkers. There's 2 bunkers. If you go deep, it slopes away, and if you go to the right, it kicks it to the right. So you have to be really exact on your second shot. It usually plays kind of firm in front, so if I can land something up in the front, and even if it ends up short, it's not the world's worst place to chip from. Yeah. The green doesn't have a ton of break, so once you're on the green, it's okay. But you just have to kind of step up and hit a good drive, and you have to hit a really good second shot on this hole.
Okay. Then we go to 11, a really challenging par 3.
Yeah, it's a cool view. You've got the casino in the background. You've got bunkers left of the green, bunkers kind of short and right, and the green kind of goes diagonal left to right. So it favors a fade, which I like. But it's one where if it's not windy, I take probably 15 to 20 yards off on my tee ball. And if it's windy, you got to judge that downhill as well as that. So if the pin's up front, you can run something in there. But if the pin's in the back, I mean, you've got to go at it. I mean, you've got to hit the middle. But if you do hit the middle of the green, things can kind of chase to the back of the green. And if something's in the middle, you can land it in the front, and it'll chase on as well. So again, kind of another sneaky narrow green. You've got to step up and hit a really good shot.
Right. All right. On a par 5, number 12. Gonna hunt for birdies here.
Absolutely, and I think it's a really generous driving area and driving hole. So it's one I would favor kind of the left side of the fairway. If you hit it up the right, or if you get a little bit in the right rough. JP hit a really good drive. It trickled into the right rough, and he had some tree issues on his second shot. So if you can favor the left, probably 2/3 of the fairway. I like the hole too because it asks for a left to right tee shot, and then to hit the green into it asks for more of a draw. So you have to kind of hit a cut and then a draw. If you do leave your second shot short, try to favor the right side of the fairway because there's a huge swale or kind of mound that if they tuck the pin to the left, then it's really hard to get at the pin. Yeah. So if you can be kind of more towards the right side, it gives you a better angle. Okay. Great.
All right, moving on to number 13, lucky 13.
Another uphill par 3. So I usually add a club on. Usually it's about another. So if it's 140, and I hit my 150 club. Yeah. And it's one, again, it's awkward. It's even harder to see where the pin is, I think, than number 7. If you go a little bit deep, it's not the world's worst. If you're really short, it's a really hard up and down. There's some really thick rough in front typically, and there's some really kind of nasty lies that you can get up if you're short of the green too. So yeah, so add about 10 yards on.
Okay. Then we go to 14.
Beautiful tee shot. You're elevated again, and this asks for a draw. And so, what I usually do is if there's a bunker on the right side of the fairway, kind of in the rough, shoot that with your range finder to kind of know how far you can hit it straight. Yeah. If you hit a draw, you're gonna like the hole. If you hit a cut, you're gonna have to decide. I think, okay, can I hit it over the trees? If not, do I maybe take a 3-wood? I took a 3-wood today and just tried to hit something straight because I knew just oftentimes the wind is kind of India or a little left to right, and it can be a hard fairway to hit because it blows everything to the right. So, so if you get your tee ball into play, you still have a long second shot, and there's a little space in front. There's a little kicker in front where you can land something 20 yards short, and I'll kick it out of the green, and the green's back to front slope. But I think the hardest part about this hole is the tee ball. And then if you can get your second shot kind of over, there's kind of it's not a hazard, but there's just thick rough to the right. I wish they would make more of that fairway. But if you can carry that and be up at least into the fairway area short of the green, it's a doable up and down.
Yeah. Okay. And then number 15, almost a similar hole, I kind of think, at least with your second shot.
Yeah. Yeah. The 15th, there's a fairway bunker on the right to kind of pay attention to and to avoid, and one on the left. So if you can get something into play, it's only about 350 typically. So you're usually gonna have kind of a shorter iron in, and the green is sneaky big. So like a front pin versus a back pin, there can be some difference there. So you're gonna have, it's not one where you can just say I'll just hit the middle of the green because you still might have a really long putt. Yeah. I think that you just want to avoid. It's pretty obvious. There's water along the left, and it slopes and it kicks left into the water. So avoid the left miss, if you can, on the shot of the green. And if you do hit the green, oftentimes if you're within 20 feet, it's not going to be that hard of a putt.
Okay. Then we move on to 16, that other drivable par 4 that you talked about. It's got one of the biggest greens, maybe the biggest green on the course, and the biggest bunker on the course.
Yeah.
I was on both of them.
Yeah, the green is huge from front to back. I think it's a tremendous hole. Another drivable 4 from Weiskopf. I wish they could either elevate the tee, which I know is not cheap. I wish they could lift it up even 10 feet so you could see. The reeds are like the tallest reeds in North America.
And that's the width. I mean, you got to get it up in a hurry if you're a lady hitting from that tee.
Yeah,
get it right in their face.
Yeah, so it's the landing area is totally blind.
Yeah.
So I typically will okay, the green is wherever the pin is. I'll aim a little bit right of that, and then you should be fine and be in the fairway because, like I said, you can't really see. And if you want to go for the green, it's typically going to play around 300. So take a hack at it. If not, if you want to hit something out there 200 to 220, you're going to have a wedge in. But again, aim a little bit right of the pin and you're going to find fairway. And then from there, once you get up to your shot, there's some really funky parts of the green. We played it and the pin there's like a thumbprint depression kind of 2/3 of the way back, and it was just past that. And a couple of us hit, and it just hit right at the top of the ridge and then kind of sucked back down into that little depression. So there, even though it's short, I think it's one where if you walk off with par, you're still happy.
Yep. Okay. 17, the last par 5 of the day.
Yep, 17. This is one I think it's really important to hit it in the fairway as much as possible. If you pull up into the left rough, there's trees that kind of block your second shot. If you hit it right, it slopes off to the right and it kicks down into some rough. And then you're hitting from way below the fairway. And so that's a tough second shot. So if you can get up as far as you can, but fairway is important on this. For sometimes par 5 fairways, it's not that big a deal. Yeah. This one, I think it is. And then second shot's big in that you just have to hit it pretty good. You have to hit it pretty far up there so you have a short iron in. If you don't hit a great drive or a great second shot, you might it's long enough and it's uphill enough, you might have lumber in, which is hard to do a par 5. And there's A lot of really interesting pins. Like we played, the pin was front right. And there's kind of bunkers that are in the middle, and it can also be back left. And so you've got to really pay attention to where the pin is and be pretty exact with your approach shot.
Yeah, a lot of bunker trouble up by the green.
Yeah. So, yep, front and back.
Okay. And then number 18, a tough finisher.
And a really underrated, tough tee shot. If you want to lay up kind of short of the water, like the fat part of the fairway, you're probably hitting. If you hit it much past like 230, you're probably going to go in the water. So if you want to hit some 200, 220, but then you're faced with a hybrid or a long iron in.
Yeah.
If you want to hit it up the left, which JP bombed one right along the tree line, the fairway slopes, it gets narrow, but it slopes left to right. It almost kicked him into the water, and Max hit an even better drive, and his did get kicked into the water. So if you want to take driver and you're a big hitter, you either have to hit a draw to hold that fairway, or you have to be just skirting the left at the exact edge of those trees.
Yeah. And then if you do play it smart up the left side, you have a tough approach shot coming in with those trees guarding the left side of the green.
Yeah, if you're too far left, you could, so it's pretty exact. So if you're farther right to the safe spot, if you kind of say, I'm not going to take on the trouble, you have a farther approach. It takes that left tree out of play. If you want to chance it, you're going to, all right, I'm going to the skinny part of the fairway. And if I tug it a little bit, now I got maybe a tree issue too.
Yeah.
The green's pretty good size. So it's, I think for me, 18 is all about the tee shot and making sure you're playing to your strengths and where it's in play.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic job as always, Twig. I think you really helped some people today, so you'll sleep well tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good job. All right. That wraps up Twig's Gimmies. Now we're going to have a fun conversation, a lot to talk about at the Wilds in our next segment known as The Range.
Ready to hit the range? Let's do it. That was good, but again, you got to clear those hips.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
All right, let's get into it, Twig. I think you've hinted at some of what we might talk about here, but again, we haven't shared our
feelings. Fresh. We're going in fresh.
We haven't shared our opinions, so we might agree, we might disagree. Let's go to your favorite hole at the Wilds.
My favorite hole is number 12, the par 5.
Okay.
Kind of shorterish par 5.
Interesting.
I like that it's a pretty easy place to drive, but if you hit a good drive, there's a chance you can try to get on it too. And I love that the left part of the green is kind of obscured by a little hill. So I think it makes for some really interesting second shots. And there's some pins that are really hard to access if you're left. I tried to get on the green too. I was 30 yards short. The pin was left. And I had like an impossible shot. So I had to play it like past the pin, like 30 feet. And kind of to the right just to make sure I didn't go on a bunker or short side myself on a hill. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that can happen. So I've always loved playing number 12.
Okay. I had a tough time coming up with my favorite. There's a lot to choose from on this course. I'm going to go number 6.
Okay.
I really like the split fairway, even though I don't think if you're going to that left side of that left part of the fairway, I don't think you're playing the hole the right way.
Yeah.
I think you got to go to the right side, but very cool visual from the tee. You can't see the green from the tee, and then on your second shot, a little bit blind. But if you aim right, kind of kicks down to the green. Downhill, you can roll it on there. I just really like number 6. I think it's a solid hole.
Nice.
And was the site of one of my best turnarounds ever in golf, which we won't bore the audience with, but holds a special place in my heart. So
we could talk about it.
I got another story from a different time at the Wilds, and so I'll share that one.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'll write about the one of the.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So check out golfloons.com. Okay, moving along. Your signature hole. I'll start with this one. You talked about it, Max's favorite hole. One of the coolest approach shots, as you said, maybe in the Metro, maybe even in the state. Hole number 8. I think that's the signature hole, the par 5. You may not think so from the tee, but once you get to your ball, man, it's just a really cool view down to that green, set in the lake, like you said. if you're not big on houses on courses, the Wild is not for you. There's houses everywhere. But you almost the huge red Frank Lloyd Wright style house that you mentioned almost adds to that hole.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever played it. We played it a lot of times where we haven't thought like, who lives there? I wonder who owns that house. So, that house adds a lot to it. I'm going signature hole number 8.
Good choice. Good choice.
How about you?
My signature hole is number 11, the elevated par 3. We got our picture taken.
Yeah.
The casino's in the background, and I just think it's such a cool view of the hole and of Prior Lake and the casino. So I like 11 for the signature.
Yeah, I thought you might say that after asking to get our picture on that hole. So, good call. All right, let's go to your birdie hunting hole.
I think there's a few opportunities for birdies on this course. I put down number 4, because I think you can drive it, so it's fun when you have bigger hitters in the group that can drive it, and JP showed us how to do it. You can also get into big trouble if you try to drive it. But even if you lay up, I still think it's one where you've got a short wedge, you've got a sand wedge or a lob wedge or a gap wedge in your hand typically, and it's one where there's a lot of pins where you can get close to. So I'm going number 4.
Yeah, I put 4 down as well.
Nice.
Not just because, and you're being modest. JP had the nice tap in birdie. You showed there's other ways to make birdie on that hole. Not a great drive, but you still got it over the trouble. Had a nice wedge in and sunk a 35 putt, and the smile on your face to take the thunder away from JP was worth the price of the course today too. So that was fun. But point is, not just because we had 2 birdies today, but today proved that there's multiple ways to score well on that hole. So nice, congrats on that birdie. One of your 2 today, right?
Yes, thanks. Yeah. And it was fun to put one right on top of JP.
Sure.
So I let him enjoy it for like 18 seconds, and then that was, yeah.
And he did not react well.
No, he didn't.
The only way to be mad after a birdie is to get stepped on like you did to him. That was kind of a dirty trick, as my grandfather was.
No better guy to do it to.
Yeah.
JP, I love you.
All right. Let's flip the script. The hole you're happy to walk away with a bogey. Although I walked away with a bogey and I wasn't happy because I 3-putted from about 15 feet. But 11, I think, is a hole that if you're walking away with a 4 on that par 3, where there's so much trouble, if you don't hit a precise tee shot, you could be in trouble. And I hit one of my best tee shots I've ever had on that. Still walked away with a 4. But typically, if I'm getting a 4 there, I'm not feeling too bad about myself.
That's a hard hole. I agree. I went with number 10. I think that approach shot is fair and it's fun, but you've got to be very exact. And if you miss right, which a lot of people do, which I do a lot, if you just flail or just fan that hybrid up along the air, it's down the hill and it's such a hard up and down. So that's one in my mind to start on. I'll take a 5. If someone says that you have a 5 on number 10 today, I would say I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah. Great hole.
All right. Now let's go to some more of our favorites. The favorite par 3 on the course for you.
I think the best par 3 is number 11. I think it's I don't love uphill par 3s, so it probably rare I would pick 7 on this or 13. I love downhill ones, and I think it takes such an exact shot to hit the green, and there's just so many different pins they can put on that. And I just think it's a great looking hole, and it's a fun hole to play as hard as it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with number 7.
Okay.
And I'll get into my quick story. So played number 7 with my friend and his dad, who's from India and was a cricket player, and he saw that he got on that tee box and saw the green, and I mean there's probably 120 yards of swamp in between the tee and the green, maybe 140. So 150-yard tee shot, and it goes. And he got up there and he said, if I did a cricket throw, I could get it over the swamp. And we're like, there's absolutely no way you could throw a golf ball over that swamp. He's like, yeah. So he goes back about 30 feet and does his running thing and then throws it, and maybe made it a quarter of the way. But I love the confidence in that throw, and so just for that story alone, I'm going to go with number 7. But a pretty little par 3.
Yeah,
you said it's uphill, but I think it's a good one.
It is a terrific hole.
Okay, favorite par 4. I already I said my favorite hole is number 6, but as I said, there's some tough choices here. So I'm going to give my flowers on this one to hole number 14 and the downhill tee shot.
Yeah.
The approach down, again with the lake in the background. Another pretty hole, another very unique hole. One where you don't always know you're in the southwest suburbs. You kind of feel like you're out in a remote lake city. And so I like number 14.
Okay. My best par 4 award goes to number 10. I'm sticking with number 10. Toughest. I think it's the best one. When recently this summer, JP and I and a couple buddies, Birdie and our friend Piggy, went on a golf trip to northern Michigan, and JP and I drove, and on the way back, we played this course called Belvedere, and it's a small course in a kind of a smaller town, and it's got one of the best par 4s ever, and the green's very, very much like number 10. It's like a small green perched on this hill, and it just runs off to the right like that, and it just reminds me of that so much. And I just think that it's such I think a well designed hole, and again, just to make par on that, you feel like you made birdie. So,
okay,
number 10.
All right, you like that hole? Let's go to the favorite par 5 on the course.
My favorite part, I like all the par 5s as a set. I think the best one's number 8. Yeah. I like the drive, and I don't mind that it's a blind second shot. I kind of like that. And that approach, I could just sit up. Like if I lived, like we talked about, like maybe someday that Frank Lloyd Wright house is going to be the Loons nest.
Oh yeah.
We'll split it, and it'll be like our summer house because we'll winter in like Naples, or something like that. And I just want to go out there every night with like a shag bag and just hit like 20 wedges into that green and just sit and putt. So I love number 8. I think that's the best par 5.
They don't tell you to dream small, Twig. They tell you to dream big. And I like that as a big dream. The Loons nest will be that big red house.
That's right. Whoever is Mr. McCormick or Mr. Johnson, we're coming for you.
Yeah. And I'll be really mad if Mr. McCormick and Mr. Johnson doesn't play golf.
Yeah.
Like, what if they just have the house, but they didn't like golf?
That would be like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, I won't even believe it. Best par 5 is number 8 for me too. So,
okay. We had some common ground in these. Some days are different on every.
And I thought it might be a variety because the Wilds does have a lot of unique holes, and there's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
So tough to choose from, but I think a few stand out. Number 8 just stands out among a lot of holes anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a very, very good hole. So, all right. So let's get into just a few more topics about the Wilds. Here's where I think a telling sign of a good course is when you pay $140 and you play like crap, like I did, and you still walk away saying that's a really good course. Okay, so that's what happened today, and like you said, we've played the Wilds a lot. It's a go-to. It is an excellent course, and every time I play it, I think I like it more. I have had some good days out there, so that helps a little bit. But it is just a really solid course. I would take if someone was visiting me in the Twin Cities and wanted a good golf experience, it'd be one of the first places I'd look for a tee time. I just think it's great.
Agree. I think that they really stepped up the conditioning like the last 10 years. It just keeps getting better. The fairways were terrific. Green's really smooth, so you get really good. Maybe I'm getting old. 140 is a lot to pay for golf. I wish some of these courses would come down. I wish they had a little better junior rate, more of a 9-hole rate. But those are what the all that aside, I really like the course, and I like that there's drivable par fours, there's meaty par fours, there's reachable par fives, there's a par five number 17 that I've never seen anybody get on into. So they've got a really nice variety. I think the par threes are hard. But I don't think any of it's unfair. There isn't a hole on the course that I like. Oh God, I don't like playing this hole. This hole's stupid.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a set of 18 really good holes. I think the sum is greater than its parts. I think you put them all together, it's a really, really good round of golf.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some more flowers go out to Haley, the beverage cart gal. She it was 7:20 tee time. I don't think you expect to see one right away. She was out there plenty at all the right times.
Yeah.
Didn't sit on 9 when you can always go in and get something. Like, she was out there at all the right spots. Really friendly. Had multiple flavors of Gatorade, which we needed on a hot day like today. So, props to Haley. Great beverage cart service today.
Yeah. What's interesting is JP and I played oftentimes early in the morning there, like similar to our 7:20 time. And when we got to the 6th hole, we said, "Gosh, usually we see the bev cart by about no. Usually see it. It's almost like clockwork."
Yeah.
And I do think that they've got it down to a pretty good science. Like, okay, if you're teeing off early in the morning, you don't need the bev cart on hole 2.
Yeah.
But sure as crap, hole 7, we saw her, and then from there it was pretty regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was almost like, oh, I'm finishing my Gatorade 8.
She
ready
almost had like analytics on when they'd be thirsty based on the humidity and the temperature today, and she was there at the right spot, right time. So.
The analytics were on.
Her sabermetrics were phenomenal today. What else did you know? One more thing I'll say: carts. These aren't Deer Run carts. They're not Minnesota National carts. They do have GPS, but they're a little less detailed. Not as luxurious. They get the job done. So a solid B on the carts.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Is Deacon's Lodge does the same thing. They don't have GPS like built into the carts. They have a GPS. It's like almost like a baby iPad.
Yeah.
That's like attached to the left pole. But what I like about it is if I get too close to the green, it'll warn me you're too close to the green, but it doesn't shut the cart down.
Do you like that?
So I like that. Or if it did, I guess maybe I lucked out. But so I like that you don't get shut down, but the GPS is good. Really good. I think the service in the pro shop, they're on the ball. If you like people cleaning your clubs after, they're there right away after. Somebody helped me with my clubs and I got out of the car. I don't need that, but some people like that. So I think for some people, hey, I want to pay a little bit more. You're going to get some of those little touches.
Yeah.
But they do a nice job of running the course. I think.
They do.
Yeah.
What did you think of the conditions?
Excellent. Fairways were great. I thought the greens they felt they played kind of firm, like balls weren't necessarily stopping right away. They would bound and bounce a little bit, which I kind of like too. They weren't super fast, but I think it was like so humid.
Yeah.
And I think it might have rained a touch in the morning, so I think that was why they were a touch sticky. But I mean, they rolled great and smooth, and the conditions were excellent.
All right. I think when I think of the Wilds, I don't think of a buddy trip. I do think of it of, hey, we got to get, these 4 guys, we haven't gotten together in a while. We got to figure out a place to golf. Where are we going to go? The Wilds is the kind of course for that, right? Like you're trying to get your friends together, and we need a good course, and that's where we're going. Or like I said, I got friends visiting from out of town, and they want to play a good round. I want to show them a good metro area course. I feel like the Wilds fits that bill.
Yeah, agree. And the restaurant and the food's really good. We didn't eat at the restaurant this time just because I was meeting my family up for lunch, but I've stopped in there. They've redone it, so it's very well. It looks great. It's very comfortable, and it looks primo in there. But I have had food in there before, and the food's always been excellent. So I think, if you do want to, meet our buddies here, and you want to stay for lunch or dinner, you're gonna have a good meal. I do think we talked about this a little bit. I think in the Tony Zozel episode. If you haven't listened to that, by the way, go back and listen. Amazing.
Yep.
No, but the Meadows at Mystic one, like that could be a good stay and play action and a good partner with the Wilds. So
Yeah.
you could stay at Mystic and play Meadows twice and the Wilds twice, or mix in the Wilds. So I do think you're not going to stay at the Wilds because there's no place to stay. But I do think you could mix it in for either a fun day of 36 with Meadows or Legends or something like that.
Yeah.
And stay at Mystic, and you'd have a ball.
Well, and there's so many houses on the course that by sheer numbers, the chance that you know someone that lives on the course is pretty high. So
Maybe
you might know someone that you could stay with.
maybe the Frank Lloyd Wright House on 8 has a VRBO. Get like 20 guys, they probably wouldn't care.
Oh, jeez, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, so you mentioned the friendly staff. One thing before we get into our emergency 9 with Max Smith is, for the second time in a row, we needed some volume. We had to do it inside because it was just so hot out.
Yep.
And there was, the hum of an air AC where we thought we would do it. So we go inside, found a room, and once again, there's music. And we asked if they could turn the music down for us, and they did. No questions asked. Really friendly. I wish I got her name. She was great. But so we had a nice, quiet area for our emergency 9 segment with Max Smith from Innovative Office Solutions and the InSports Foundation. Let's go to that right now.
Hey, hon, how are you? Oh, that's awesome. Hey, listen, we still have 9 holes to go here today. It is really backed up out here. I'm sorry. I love you. Oh, yeah, thanks again. Okay, love you. Bye. We're good.
All right, time now for the Emergency 9 segment. I'm here with our guest today, Max Smith. Max Smith, you might know him as the founder of the InSports Foundation. You might have seen him as a model for Unreal and golf magazines all over the world with his son. But just well known in the sports and in the business industry here in the Twin Cities. We're excited to be joined by Max Smith. Max, thanks for joining us at the Wilds today. Of course, it means a little bit to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me about your experience with the Wilds.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me out today. It was a great day out here. Got a little toasty, but glad we got out in the morning. But yeah, the Wilds has been actually the host of our InSports Foundation golf tournament for 8 years. We're switching courses this year over to the Meadows at Mystic, but for 8 years we were out here at the Wilds, so a lot of really good memories out here. We've raised a ton of money for our foundation at this course, and really gotten a lot of people that are close to us on the personal side and in the business world, out here golfing together, and we had a lot of good weather days. Only one big rain out where people got really, really drenched, but they still got like 12 or 13 holes.
Yeah, that's always in the back of your mind every time you're walking into the event, right?
What's the weather?
Yeah, exactly. Before we do our emergency 9, just tell us a little bit about the InSports Foundation and what the mission is there.
Yeah, so our whole goal is to help kids get more involved in sports. So we actually just hit our 100,000 kids impacted just a couple weeks ago at one of our camps.
In how many years?
So this is our 13th year.
Okay.
So it started as a college project. Actually, it kind of goes back to when I played junior hockey. I was taking an entrepreneurship class out in Maryland, and the ideas kept snowballing from there, and it kept getting more and more momentum. And today we've helped 100,000 kids through the free camps we put on, the scholarships we give, and the teams that we impact that need extra financial assistance.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You guys are doing a great job. Tons of partnerships with the other professional sports teams, so really cool to see how you've grown that. So, yeah. All right, but let's talk about you now. That's what we're here for. So, tell us a little bit about your golf story. What the sport means to you, how you got involved, and where you're at with it now.
Yeah. So I've got pictures of when I was like 1.5, 2 years old, out playing golf with my dad and my grandpa. Both my parents grew up in Northfield, Minnesota, so I spent a ton of time at the Northfield Golf Club out there. And yeah, pictures of me, little tiny Max with a big club, taller than me, and just running around the putting green and riding on the golf cart. And so my family, we're big golfers. We grew up in Egan, and we're actually members at Hastings Country Club when it was private. And so we spent a lot of family time in the golf world with my sister and my mom and dad. But then, in the summertime, I got dropped off at Valleywood and Lost Spur on like Mondays and Wednesdays. And, in those days, you just dropped your kids off, left them there for 3-4 hours, and we just spent, pretty much the whole day out on the golf course with our friends.
Yeah.
Right, and it was hockey golf, and so just getting that chance to be out there, with friends and not having like all these adults around telling you what to do. Like we really got to learn the game, and we're keeping our scores and competing with each other at a young age, and so I kind of just had a lot of nice summer memories growing up on the golf course. And then I, started feeling, like, oh, I'm actually a pretty decent player, and started entering some junior PGA tournaments. Never, maybe won one of them, nothing crazy. And, got to high school and, joined the golf team freshman year. And we had some pretty good teams at Eastview. And I ended up going to state senior year, Bunker Hills, which gets me every time. Of course, we played sections and state out there. And then ended up having a chance to play college golf at Concordia up in Moorhead. And again, we played our MIAC championship at Bunker Hills again. So a lot of time at Bunker, but was able to play hockey and golf up there at Concordia. And so, and now I really use it as a business tool. We're members at Olympic Hills, and do a lot of family golf out there with my wife and 3 kids, but also do a lot of business things out there too.
Right. That's awesome. Well, you can tell that if there's a Golf Loons tournament of our guests so far, you're the number one seed. Best golfer we've had so far. So, do you have so you obviously played a lot of courses in Minnesota and Wisconsin, probably beyond, but do you have a favorite, or one that means a lot to you?
Yeah, like I mentioned, Hastings. I wouldn't say Valley was my favorite, but I spent a lot of time at Valleywood. You learn a lot of like shot shaping out there. Played a lot of the legends too growing up. It was close to our house. But I would say, right now, Olympic Hills, we joined there about 3 years ago, and have really watched my kids kind of learn the game out there, and being able to take our whole family out. So my dad also joined out at Olympic Hills. So it's been fun to see my kids kind of enjoy the game of golf and see them learn. So right now that's probably the top of my list.
Yeah. Anytime you're with your kids, that's gonna be up there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your choice of any golf course in the world to play, and you can bring 3 people to play with you, alive or dead, doesn't matter. Who would you pick?
Okay. Definitely going out to Augusta. I did get to go to a practice round there, a Wednesday practice round, so saw it. So it would be super pumped if I ever got to play that course.
Okay.
And I would say I would want to have a lot of fun out there. So I would have John Daly, Adam Sandler, and Will Ferrell join that. Just have a blast.
And 2 comedians that have a golf connection.
Yep.
Right? So, we were talking about the Hawk earlier.
The Hawk.
Today, so that's awesome. That'd be a fun group.
Well, and it's like Tiger Woods, especially kids that grew up in the '90s. Like that's a big reason why a lot of kids played golf. But I remember watching Happy Gilmore and being like be at a sleepover with some kids. Like, hey, I got Happy Gilmore on DVD, and we'd go watch that. And like that was just as exciting to be like, okay, I want to go play golf tomorrow. Yeah, watching that movie. So
okay. So let's switch a little bit to hockey, because you talked about hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Answer to a common trivia question: who holds the career games played record for Eastview High School? It's this guy right here. So, but tell us about your hockey story. What hockey has meant to you?
Yeah. Well, again, that was a sport my dad played growing up, and he got me out on skates at an early age, 2 or 3 years old, and I was this size when I was 12, so I grew really quick at a young age and then kind of stopped growing. So when I was a peewee, traveling I played on the Minnesota Blades, and we'd go all over the country in Canada playing hockey, and I'd have to bring my birth certificate everywhere because I had a beard, and it was like, who is this guy? So I was fortunate, I was able to play varsity at Eastview as an 8th grader. Mike Gibbons was our coach, who had a good career at St. Cloud State, Bemidji, and was just a really good coach and a good mentor of mine. And yeah, I played the most games, but I did not score the most goals or have the most assists by any means. I'd say my 8th grade freshman year we had a really good team. A lot of guys that ended up playing Division I or really good Division III hockey. So really, my whole life was kind of like that top player. And then 8th grade, 9th grade was really a role player, playing third line center, just grinding, getting a couple shifts a period. And then ended up junior year, played defense for a year because we were just struggling on that side. So really got to learn different roles within a team and was able to be captain a couple of years and had a really good time at Eastview. And then I went to play a year of junior hockey out in the East Coast. It was called the Atlantic Junior Hockey League at the time. So I was living in Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. And that's kind of where the start of the InSports Foundation happened.
Okay.
And then played college hockey at Concordia in the MIAC, Concordia College up in Moorhead, and had 3 years there and some really, really good teammates and memories up there. But I don't miss the cold winters.
But you met your wife there?
Met my wife there. Yep. And we met through sports. Through my golf coach was also her basketball coach, and he introduced us. And she started working at Innovative, the company my parents started, and we started dating a year after that.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously sports means a lot to you. It's where how you met your wife, got you your start. It's what you do now.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so important for kids to get into sports? Like, what do you feel like you learned? What's helped you in your life that you learned from sports?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that can duplicate being on a sports team with others sharing a common goal towards something. And there's nothing that you're ever going to be in that environment where, somebody is trying to physically come after you and either take the puck, take the ball. Golf's a little bit different, but there's a little more mental side to that. But playing on a team sport, you're not going to get that experience where physically, mentally bonding. You're not going to get that out of anything. Like sports is really the only outlet that you can learn a lot of those lessons. And so I think resilience, going through hard times, can teach you when you're older, you're in the business world, you're a parent, you've kind of gone through all of these things in your sports career, because you're hopefully you're not going to win every single game, win every tournament. You're going to go through some of those rough patches, but that bonding you have with your teammates totally translates into the business world. When your business might be going through a hard time, like how do you come together and try to achieve that common goal? So I think there's a lot of great activities out there, whether it's, band, music, like other co-curricular activities, kind of outside academics, but really the physical, the mental, the social things that sports brings. Like there's just really nothing else that compares to that.
Right. But also youth sports is a little bit under siege, right? So when you've got a front row seat for that,
Mm-hmm.
we all do as parents, right?
Yeah.
Watching our kids. So if there's something you could change about youth sports today, what would it be?
Yeah, and I mean, a big reason why we started the InSports Foundation was accessibility, making sure that kids have access to playing. And with the world that youth sports is in right now, there's a lot of families that are priced out of a lot of opportunities. And, sports specialization is a big topic that we talk about. Something on our podcast that we talk with some of the athletes that we have is that should you specialize in sports early? And kind of the common theme is you can get really burnt out and spend a lot of money opposed to a kid who's trying multiple sports, not always doing the travel teams where you're going out of town every weekend. You can get a lot more reps done at your house, frankly, than going to Toronto for a hockey tournament or Chicago for a soccer tournament. Like you can do a lot for a lot less expensive. But those opportunities are dwindling because it's just become so revolved around this youth sports business.
Yeah.
And so I think, traveling for sports, is good. I mean, we've experienced it right now with our son on his lacrosse team. And, those are some great memories. The kids going to the pool and hanging out with their buddies. But it gets to a spot where it's like, they're 8 years old. Do they need to be traveling right now across the country to play a sport?
Right.
So I don't know, it's a tough thing that I think a lot of families are trying to figure out what's best for their kid.
Yeah. Has there been a theme among these athletes that you've talked to, or maybe it opens your eyes to say like, what worked for them is really simpler than maybe we think?
Yeah, I would say, a lot of the athletes that we interview say they tried, their parents encouraged multiple sports growing up. Even if there was like one sport that they were focused on, they weren't going to play that sport all year round. They're trying, and if they're a volleyball player, they're gonna do soccer, they're gonna do flag football, and they're gonna learn different movements, different mechanics from playing on these other sports, meet different kids, get coached by different coaches, and if you're just stuck on one sport, you're probably going to get burnt out. And so there's a lot of things that you learn from different sports that translate to that next sport, and it just keeps it fresh. You keep trying different things and not just getting honed in on being the best hockey player you can possibly be.
Yeah, and I asked you this on the course, and I'm going to ask you here, and this isn't meant to offend any of your other guests.
Yeah.
But I'd like your answer to it. Who is your favorite guest that you talked to on your podcast?
Yeah, so the favorite one personally for me is a guy named Don Constable. He's a Minnetonka golfer, but he played hockey growing up too, so we share that commonality. But he was able to play on the PGA Tour for a couple years on the Corn Ferry Tour, and he's a unbelievable golfer and become a good friend of mine. But we spent about an hour and a half talking about the mental side of golf. So for me personally, I got a lot out of it. And I think if anybody who's interested in golf, that's a good one to listen to because there's a lot of really good tips that he gives. But we got a lot of good guests on our podcast. But personally, I personally got the most out of that one.
I'm going to be listening to that one.
Yeah.
All kinds of today at the Wilds. Okay, so we always like to have people on that have had success, whether it's business, sports, life, whatever. Do you have a mantra or a motto that something if you could give advice to someone this is my key to success, what would that be?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit today about my family. So my mom, who started Innovative, the company that I work for, and also helped us start the InSports Foundation. She passed away about 3.5 years ago, and she battled cancer, cancer 3 times in a 4-year span. And so she had a ton of self-reflection. She had a lot of nights in the hospital, and reflecting on her faith and just her relationships that she had. So the mantra that she created, which I still think about every day, is don't let tomorrow take up too much of today. So both my mom and I are very futuristic thinking. So a lot of times, okay, what's next? What am I doing in 6 months? What's the 5-year plan? But if you can't stop and say like, what are you doing in this present moment? Because this is really all we have, in our life is like what's going on right now. And so for her as a futuristic thinker and me as a futuristic thinker, that one's kind of helped me balance a little bit. And so I've actually got a tattoo here of a heart that my mom drew. And so that mantra is correlated with this heart. So we had about 30 people who got this tattoo in honor of my mom after she passed away. So it actually works out well because when I'm golfing, I see it, right here. If I'm putting, if I'm driving, if I'm having a bad day, it's just a great thought. Like, hey, just stay present, stay in the moment. Don't let tomorrow take up too much of today. And
So that's why you're such a good golfer. So that's you're gonna go to the tattoo shop and listen to Don Constable on the way. So, that's awesome. Well, I met your mom when we worked with Innovative in the business world. Great person. I know she'd be super proud of you and all that you're doing. And just really cool to see all that you've done for youth sports and golf too. I mean, I know you are a big thing is for you to preach getting kids out on the golf course because it does teach so much lessons. So it was super fun having you out there today. You're a fun golfer to watch, but an even more fun guy to just talk to and ride the cart with. So we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun. Love the idea you guys are doing. So best of luck, and it'd be fun to listen to all the courses you guys get to play.
We're taking them off, but this is a good one.
Yeah.
Had fun here and had fun with you. So I'm glad to make it work.
Thanks, Glenn.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Mac. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much to Max Smith for joining us today. Amazing stuff that he and his wife and his family do with the InSports Foundation. We've been talking about, youth sports, such a cliche to say that it's changed so much from when we were kids. A lot of it is ugly, but with us both having worked in sports, we saw a lot of that ugliness, but then there were a few glimmers of hope that gave, that
Yeah.
made us like go to bed thinking, oh, this is why we do what we do. And I think of Max and the InSports Foundation like that. Like they just are doing the right things with the right intent for kids in sports and avoiding the ugliness that's out there.
Yeah, for sure, a beacon of light. And I think he said that they had their 100,000th kid. I think that they've helped access, I don't know what sport, but a sport, right, that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So that's pretty cool that they've done a ton of work. So it was really fun playing with Max. He's a great golfer. He golfed in college,
Hits the ball
in high school.
Yeah,
hounds it. But he's easygoing. He was easy to play with. It was really fun learning more about his family and his foundation. And it actually started from an idea at college, which how cool is that?
Yeah.
So so it was a great day all around, and thanks again to him for taking time with 3 kids and a wife and a foundation and a company he's working at to carve out some time for us.
Yeah, he was high on our list of guests. I think we tried to get him for our very first round, and he's got a lot going on, so we were lucky to finally find some time that worked for him, and it was worth the wait. He was a fun guy to play with. I got to ride the car with him. Easy guy to talk to, and it's just good to have people like Max Smith out there, and fortunate enough to have him on our podcast.
Yeah, and he has his own podcast as well, which I can't wait to dive in. I watched when I knew we were having him on, I watched a bit of one episode, but now I'm excited to go back. He's got terrific guests, so I'm excited to go back and watch his podcast even more.
Should be great. So thank you to Max. Thank you to Yellowbird Coffee. As a reminder, we would love it. Hopefully you're subscribed to get these podcasts on iHeart or iTunes or Spotify. But we have other things going on too. We've got Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, Golf Loons MN. We have a YouTube channel, so if you're listening but want to see some of the things that we're talking about, we've got pictures and video that we put on there. Special thanks to my daughter, Devin, for helping with those.
Oh, thanks,
and,
Devin.
And then, and what else do we have? Oh, and I got a blog on the website where I will put some meandering thoughts, sometimes on the course, sometimes not. Sometimes it's on other things. You might hear about Dana Keeker, you might hear about UMD hockey on there, but a variety of topics. So if you're ever bored or you need to sit on the toilet and read something for a little while, we've got you covered there.
You're a really good writer, Glenn. So I would encourage you guys to check out the blog. You're a great writer.
Okay. And if any of my friends made it this far in the podcast, I'm going to issue a confession/apology. So I had my golf guys trip last week at Minnesota National.
Yeah.
And I did pretty well. I finished second place, my best finish ever, 1 hole from the championship. And but they had all never played, and they kept talking about how, well, none of us have ever played this course. And in my mind, I'm thinking, should I tell them that I played this course a week before and had Twig's advice on the course? I didn't tell them, and I played it. I played it cool. But now I feel almost guilty that I didn't admit that I had the advantage of playing it and having Twig's games in advance. So sorry, guys. This is my confession right now. I apologize for being misleading, but it's about winning. It's about winning, Twig, and that's what I'm here for. So.
Well, I'm sure it won't take that much to get back on their good side. Just probably a round of beers or something like that, or a couple of nice steaks next year at yours, or maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see. If I won, I would have bought him a round of beers, but but again, came up short. That's it for this week. We got another course coming up next week. We're excited to give that to you. Until then, keep those elbows tucked, and cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, cheers.
Where'd we play?